day outside, high of 25, no humidity. I love it. I hope everybody gets outside today and enjoys that for a bit. I'm so happy we could come together. Again, my name is Justyna. I work at the Linwood Charlton Center. I'm a child and youth worker there, and we've been putting together these webinars. This is our third one in this series, and we're talking about resiliency. We're talking about how do you bounce back after adversity in your life? How do you bounce back with, stresses and troubles and normal problems? If you click on the links before this video, when you go to OurSpace, you'll see that there's a bunch of different links. So feel free to go through and look at the past presentations that I've done, and also look at, there's some other ones on self-care by an occupational therapist named Katie. That's a good one as well. So take advantage of the stuff that's on here. There's some really great information. So we'll cover this today, but I will go ahead and let Justyna introduce herself as well, and then we'll start.
Hi everyone, so my name is Justyna Cox, and I'm an occupational therapist at Child and Adolescent Services in Hamilton, and I'm so excited to do this presentation with you, Jodi, and add to your series.
Wonderful, and I thank you so much for coming in.
Of course.
It's great. So what we're going to start to talk about today is things that you can control when there's so many things that we can't control, especially right now, right? What can we focus our energy on? So I want to talk about a few things today, and then Justyna will take over and talk about some things that she's passionate about as well. And we're talking today about controlling external stimuli. So things on the outside of our body, right? We see ears for hearing, eyes for seeing, skin for touching, tongue for tasting, and nose for smelling. So if we sit down and think about all those individual things and how they can affect us, then we can start to control them, right? So we look at the next slide, and we're tasting. Are we putting good foods into our body? Are we giving our body the nutrients that it needs to have the energy to make good decisions and to handle adversity later on, right? Are we taking those time out and going for a walk? Are we hearing the birds and smelling the fresh air, right? Are we giving our body the strength again to be able to handle adversity later on? And I love this picture of this lady in her very comfy clothes. You know, do we want something silky and soft beside us, or warm and fuzzy? What makes us feel good, right? I love that. And the picture of the cell phone with a big lock on it, I like that as well, right? Sometimes we need to turn off the outside world. We have to think about what we're allowing into our space. Are we going to watch news all the time? Are we going to sit there and look at beautiful people and with lots of money and have to compare ourselves, right? Think about what's important to you and what makes you feel good. Okay. Are there any of, Justyna, when you see those pictures, is there anything that you connect with when you look at kind of controlling your outside stimuli?
Yeah, that woman in the fuzzy blanket. Definitely someone that likes to be cozy, and like that's like a nice sensation for me. And choosing intentionally what I eat that makes my body feel good. And it doesn't happen all the time, but when I take pause and be intentional about it, those things make me feel good.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, and I find sometimes it's the opposite. Sometimes I connect more with the opposite. So if I eat greasy hamburgers and it makes me feel sick, I remember that. And I have to keep reminding myself about the good feelings I get when I do eat healthy and exercise. Right. It's awesome. We all have to do it. For sure. So if we've kind of managed those outside stimuli, we've made ourselves feel comfortable and good, we look after our body, the next thing I want to talk about is managing your emotions. How to stay calm when facing stress. Frustrations. How do we not stamp our feet and cry, right? We learn how to deal with things. We think of little kids who have temper tantrums, right? As we grow, we usually learn tools to manage those emotions. Sometimes it's harder than other times, right? So how do we do that? I still struggle with this when I get frustrated. And we have to kind of be, well, we have to be very compassionate with ourselves, because our brains were built a long time ago. And the limbic system that looks after the part of the emotion, it's really, really old. So it is an emotional response that you don't have conscious control over, right? They're there for survival, to make you run when you see the bear, right? To hide when you or to find food when you're hungry. Those responses are there for survival. So not necessarily can we control them. So what can we control then, right? If we can't control our emotions and our feelings. I like this little picture here. We have to remember that memory is linked to experiences. So if we've had an emotional response to something, it's going to be a really strong emotional response if that happens again, right? Your body and your brain are so smart, they're going to remember these things. We might not consciously remember, but our brain does. So sometimes we react big and we don't even know why. So again, having compassion, right? Allowing ourselves to be human. Right? So if we can't control our emotions and feelings, what can we control? And my little arrows here point to the things we can, the thoughts and the behaviors. They're all connected. And if we start to control our thoughts and the behaviors, the feelings are going to start to change as well, right? I like this. We use this triangle a lot because it's a good reminder that everything is working together there, right? And so we can talk about positive actions as well. If we can't control our feelings and our emotions, what can we do that makes us feel better, which will slowly change our thoughts, slowly change our emotions and feelings around things. And some of the ways we can do that, they're pretty easy. So I would really challenge you to try out one or two of these things because they might just work for you. We know exercise makes you feel better. It makes you be able to handle adversity later because you have your dopamine that's flooding through your brain, right? Being kind to others. When we get our thoughts and focus off ourselves, our troubles don't seem as big, right? So it's really important, and you just automatically feel better when we're helping other people as well. Being mindful, right? Being in the minute. We talk about this a lot. It's been huge out there, mindfulness, and I think we've kind of lost it over the years, and it's something that's so important. We start to take really pride and what am I looking for the word? Where we're connected to things around us, right? And when we're connected, we are more involved with them, right? They mean more to us. So I like that as well. It's good to talk to people, right? Being that connection, talking to a friend, talking to a neighbor. Maybe you've got some elderly people, reaching out, making sure they're okay. It's a wonderful thing to do. And play to your strength. I like this one. Justyna is going to talk a bit about positioning yourself as a learner, right? Trying new things, but also go back and do what you're good at. Doesn't it feel great to do something that really brings you pride and joy and that you enjoy as well? So take advantage of those things, right? Take some time off and really do something that you enjoy. Go. Don't give in to negative thinking. I like that one, right? Really focus on what you're saying to yourself and challenge that if you are having negative thoughts. Is there any way that you could reframe that where it's a little more truthful that I say to myself, oh, I fail all my tests. When I look back and go, no, do you know what? I do pass most of my tests. And if we just change that way of thinking, it actually alters our feelings and our thoughts and our behaviors. And being grateful, another big one. Having a gratitude journal is something that they're finding is more and more helpful because it allows you to remember all the good things in your life, right? It allows you to remember the good things that you've done for people. It allows you to remember the good things that people have done to you. And it puts things in perspective. So I challenge you to look into, there's some great links online too that you can look up on how to do gratitude journals. So I would challenge you to take a look at that for sure.
And Jodi, I like how you said in the beginning that compassion piece, because these things are hard to do. And having that self-compassion that I might have to try this multiple times before it becomes more of a habit, and going back to that self-compassion, it's okay if it doesn't happen the way I want it to the first time.
Absolutely. And I think of mindfulness, right? It's something that people have to practice. It doesn't come easy. Meditation, I think people talk about, you have to practice that for years before you become really comfortable with it and where maybe you're seeing that benefit, right? As simple as deep breathing. It's all those things we have to practice. And I think it's Margaret Thatcher, shouldn't quote me on that, who said sometimes you need to fight the battle more than once to win the war. And it's the same thing. We have to keep trying things and really expand our thinking around it. It's neat. And do you put any of this type of thing into your life, Justyna? Talking about like positive thinking or being grateful. Do you take advantage of any of these?
Yeah, and I was thinking about how it takes a lot of practice, and there are things that I work towards. Like mindful eating is one that I've been trying to do, really slowing down that process and just taking a moment to activate my senses while I'm eating and being really intentional and mindful about it. But it doesn't happen every time, and my mind will wander. So it's just kind of about to, trying again and
Yeah,
forgiving yourself when it doesn't go as you thought it would. Or
absolutely. And that's when we have to have that compassion for ourselves, right? Allow yourself to make mistakes and allow yourself to, I mean, when we're trying to be mindful, your mind will wander, right? And allowing that to happen and just bringing it back to what you want to focus on.
yeah,
Nice. That's awesome. Thank you. And then I want to talk about deliberate, then act. I like that. Deliberate, sorry, and then act. And this quote is great. I'll read it to you. I feel that one must deliberate, then act. Must scan every life choice with rational thinking, but then base the decision on whether one's hearts will be in it. So, and I think that's great. So sit down, do your pros and cons list, right? Really think about all the choices that you have when you're making a decision. Use things like Scora. There's a couple different, well, more than a couple, there's a lot of different things out there, kind of problem solving maps. So sit down, really think about everything. But then when it comes down to, what does your heart say is the best for you? Follow your gut. Follow what you think is going to make you the happiness. So I like that. Deliberate, but also let your heart follow, or follow your heart. And when we think about, we all think that if we become deliberate thinkers, our lives will become far more meaningful. And I like that because we're not going to just allow life to happen to us. We're going to make decisions and really choose and make our life path what means the most to us. So in the circle on the slide there, you see we talked about brainstorming. So when you think of a problem, if you start brainstorming and invite friends, family, people you trust into that, the ideas will just triple, quadruple. You know what I mean? You'll get so many ideas and you'll be able to open your mind to things that you had no idea were even out there. So again, it's talking to people, putting your problems out there and finding out what your friends and family might have suggestions for you. Keep a journal. Again, it could be a gratitude journal. It could be your goal journal. Right? Anything to track your progress and remember what your goals were before. Not that you have to accomplish every goal, and maybe you'll go back to goals. Maybe you'll write it down and not work on it for a while. That's fine too. But just to keep track of what you've said you want to do, right? I think that's great. And detach yourself from your day-to-day routine. And I think that speaks to mindfulness, right? When we're not going through and doing the mundane things every day and forgetting, I've done that where you're driving and you've actually forgotten driving someplace because your brain just takes over and you do it automatically. We've lost that chunk of day. I might have lost a vision on the side of the road of a cute dog walking by, or, we miss so much if we're just doing our day-to-day routine and not being mindfulness. Mm-hmm. Nice. And I do like that, find a dedicated place to think. It's like brushing our teeth. If we put these routines into place and start just kind of forcing us to do one or two of these a day, they become a habit. And then we find we don't want to live without them. If you give yourself 10 minutes a day to think and you put that into your schedule every day, it won't be long before you go, wait a minute, I didn't have my thinking time if people try to take that away from you, right? You'll really find the benefit to it. That's awesome. So there's a few things to think about. When we're trying to take control of our lives and the things around us, the best thing is to focus on what we can control. And there's a few ideas on things that you can. And now I will put it on to Justyna for her part of the presentation.
Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay, so I thought I would do a little recap. So the idea here is we can harness our resilience or our ability to adapt or bounce back after a difficult situation by focusing in on what is in our control. How can I affect change during this difficult situation? I can't control that the difficult thing is happening. Whoa, the slides are...
Yeah. Keeps you thinking.
Completely distracting. So yeah, I can't control the difficult thing is happening, but I can control, as Jodi described, how I manage my thoughts and feelings towards them, the stimuli that I take in. So this next piece is really about noticing that I'm in control in choosing what I do, and that can directly influence how I feel. So I thought we could start off and see, what are you already choosing to do in your day? And a poll just popped up, and you can put in multiple answers. So for the participants, and I can even do it myself and Jodi, what are we already choosing to do each day? Give me a second to do that.
There is a bit of a scroll on the right-hand side, so you don't miss all the questions there. I hope everybody finds time to sleep there.
I know. It's been hard in this heat to sleep. Okay, so we're getting some social media, sleep, texting with family, breakfast. Okay. And we'll revisit this again towards the end of the presentation.
Awesome.
So this is, what can I do to build resilience? And an acronym that I came across recently actually is ACE. And I thought it was really simple. I really like it. And it stands for Achieve, Connect, and Enjoy. And we'll go through each of those. Starting with Achieve. So this is about choosing to do something that fosters a sense of achievement or success. So setting goals is a great way to set yourself up for something that you can work towards achieving. And you'll see that realistic is highlighted there, and I think that's really important to emphasize. Starting small and setting a realistic goal, and then experiencing that sense of accomplishment. So maybe you start asking yourself, what is one thing that I can accomplish today that helps me move in the direction I want to go? So maybe for somebody that's 30 minutes of exercise, because I know that exercise makes my body, my mind feel rejuvenated. Or maybe that's the next image on the slide, learning something new. Mm-hmm. And have to be school, like academic content. It can be anything. Learning a new recipe, learning a new language through like an app, Duolingo, and especially like TikTok, learning dances. That takes a lot. It's really challenging. So that could be something that you learn new in your day. Mm-hmm. Find what interests you, what excites you, and moves you closer to that person that you want to be. So Jodi, have you learned anything new lately?
I have, actually. It's been great. With everything going on right now, we're in a bit of a lockdown currently. So it's given me the opportunity to really go, what do I want to do? And we have a young puppy. So I started doing agility. So first I had to learn how to build these agility obstacles. So I did a lot of YouTube, and then I had to learn how to train him to do it. So it's been quite the experience. So it's not just me learning, it's him too. And I see, I was thinking about this, and I see a huge difference in the dog. He seems happier because he's learning something new day. So I think animals are just so truthful when it comes to that. And I think what a great representation of that he's happier when he's out there doing 20 minutes of training, right?
Yeah, totally.
So it's been great to see. I've enjoyed it immensely.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Okay, so then next piece to ACE is connect. And I really think that resilience is a community, a collective concept. And we can nurture that resilience and ability to bounce back with the support of others. And I think it's so important to be intentional about who those others are. So trying to prioritize connecting with family, friends, community members that we trust, that we care about, and who care about us. And I think social media is a good example of this, that we choose who we follow on Instagram or other platforms. And so really being intentional about who you're choosing, what content you're bringing in. And then I think something really relevant right now is finding different ways to connect. So we're all familiar with technology and different apps, but don't forget about snail mail. It's another form of a way to connect with people. Different generations use different forms of connection, so that could be something you can explore too.
Absolutely. I remember I had a pen pal when I was a kid, and waiting for that letter in the mail. There's a different feeling. You don't get that nowadays with the instant messaging and stuff, right?
Yeah, totally. Opening it up, and it's fun.
Excellent. And this makes me think back to the last presentation about, well, it was the first one in resiliency, actually, and they showed this wonderful scale. It was a little brain video, if anybody had seen that. And it showed the trauma on one side that brings down your resiliency, and on the other side of the scale is your brain, but it also was all the community. It was all your therapists, your friends, your family, the people that love you, the people that support you. It's those intentional good people in your life that are going to help you grow that resiliency too. And that's so important to remember. You can't do this alone, right?
Totally, yeah. It takes a team. Okay, and the last piece is enjoy. So take control of doing things that you enjoy, whether that's together with others or alone. The options are endless and totally unique to what you enjoy. And so you can ask yourself, what gives me purpose? What excites me? Is there something that I just get totally lost in the moment when I'm doing? And this screen, when I made it in the PowerPoint originally, these were little gifts. So they were kind of like little movies, and those cookies would start as balls and then they would bake like in a quick little video, and I thoroughly enjoyed watching that. And Ellen, like, she makes me laugh. Resting, animals, all these things that you enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
What gets you?
I would say being on the water for sure, being in my boat, being in the canoe, just paddling out to the middle of the lake, even if it's just Christie's up the road from me, just being out in nature and really enjoying, listening to the birds, feeling the breeze. That thoroughly makes me happy, for sure.
Yeah, well, that's awesome.
And we're so lucky too.
Yeah.
Just our area in Hamilton, we're waterfall capital of Canada, I think they've named us. So we are so lucky. So get out and really enjoy our town for sure.
Yeah, and I think with ACE as a concept, pick one element to start. Mm-hmm. So maybe start with enjoy. Starting small, ask yourself, what is one thing I can choose to do that I enjoy and that makes me feel good. So this is coming full circle now. This was back to the poll that I asked you guys in the beginning. What are you already choosing to do? And I categorized them into the Achieve, Connect, and Achieve, Connect, and Enjoy categories. And you'll see that you are already choosing to do things that build and foster resiliency. So I think not only does this presentation give you some more ideas, but it also highlights that you're already doing some of these really important things. And so keep doing them and keep being intentional about what you choose to do and who you choose to do it with.
Awesome.
Brings us to the end.
Well, does anybody have any questions? Feel free to write them in your question and comment box on the bottom left-hand corner. Nobody can see that box right now. Haruka in the background will then transfer them over to the questions and comment box that we can see. Excuse me. That's wonderful. We're just waiting. Haruka will come back and join us as well. But I want to remind you guys, too, that go back onto OurSpace. I'm not sure if you guys have connected through a link that I've sent you personally, or if you've actually gone onto the OurSpace Hamilton.ca website. But either or, really worth taking a look. There's lots of good information on there for families and for youth. Feel free to click on anything that you want to watch, even if it is family and you're just watching it by yourself.
Can everyone hear me okay? Yeah, Eric? Perfect. Thank you, Justyna and Jodi.
I can hear you just fine.
That was awesome and very timely in terms of how we're all feeling right now, and sometimes we might feel out of control and not being able to control different things that are happening in our lives. And so if we can take time to reflect on that a little bit and kind of think about what we can do in our days, and this session definitely helped realize that. So thank you. I just wanted to remind everyone that you can feel free to email us if there's any questions. So if you email engage@linwoodcharlton.ca, Louise and myself Yes, we'll receive the email and we'll forward it to Justyna and Jodi, and they'll be able to answer your questions, so feel free to do that. The session was recorded, and so if you want to share that with your friends or with your family, you can do so. We'll send a reminder email when the link is up, and it'll be on YouTube and the OurSpace website. You can watch it either or, and there'll be additional resources that are helpful and relevant to the session too. All right, I'm just going to make sure there's no other questions or comments. Actually, you've shared thanks to both of you.
I like that. Yeah. Wonderful. You're more than welcome. Thanks for participating. I love to see people in here.
There was a question around when the next one is. And so we don't currently have any youth sessions coming up, but Justyna and Jodi have awesome ideas about maybe doing something on our social media account. So if you want to follow our OurSpace Him Aunt account, that's where we share our upcoming sessions. So feel free to check that out, and we'll definitely let all of you know if there's more sessions coming up. Also, if you have any ideas about session topics that you want to hear about, feel free to share that with us as well. And so we can definitely create sessions that are helpful for you and meet your needs. I'm just going to share some of the comments that are coming in now. Thanks for a great session. So that came from you. And can you post the link for Instagram?
You're more than welcome.
Sweet. I'm sure I can get that as well. I'm just not the greatest at multitasking, but I will put the link or the account name. Oh, actually, no. Louise has got it.
Oh, there you go. She is so quick.
Thanks,
Louise.
A minute or so to make sure everyone got the chance to share our questions or comments. Anything else to add on your end, Justyna or Jodi?
Oh, I was just thinking about how the website is geared to exploring mental health issues that matter to everybody, but I'm not sure what I'm trying to say here, but I think it's just so important that people remember that this is for a good quality of life for anybody, right? We don't have to struggle with our mental health to take these skills and tips and tricks to make us feel better or handle our adversities better. Right? It's not something that only certain people have to work on. This is something that everybody, if we just put a little effort into, being a little more mindful or thinking about who we hang out with, if we just put a little bit of effort into our lives, it's amazing the results that we get. So I just wanted to put that out there.
And so feel free to
it's really
share
important for
friends,
everybody
families,
to do stuff like this.
Who you think might find this helpful too. All right. I don't see any other questions coming in, so we'll call it a session. And thank you again, Justyna and Jodi, for an awesome session. And we look forward to seeing more of you joining future sessions. Thanks, everyone.
Awesome. Thanks, people.
Thanks.